can't let technology defeat you. I see it's now streaming live on Facebook.
Is it?
I have that indicator. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yes, but it's not ready yet.
Well, welcome. I'm Dr. Karen Jogan. I'm a professor of Spanish at Albright College in Reading, Pennsylvania. And I'd like to introduce you to my Chilean colleagues who are going to help us enjoy the beauty and the beauty and the elegance of the Atacama Desert, which is in the north of Chile. Over on the top, I guess to my left here, we have Maria Eugenia Avedaño Rojas. She's an English professor from the Division of Human Sciences at the Arturo Prat University in the north of Chile. She has a master's degree in curriculum development, a master's in English teaching to young learners. She's been a teacher for 15 years and a faculty member in the program at Arturo Prat University for 10 years. She teaches in both undergraduate and graduate programs and coordinates outreach for the English teaching program. She's also the coordinator for the National Diagnostic Evaluation for Teachers. So welcome, Maria Eugenia, and she's speaking to us from the north of Chile, from Iquique, Chile. Down at the bottom, we have Juan Chamorro Arenas. He's an English professor, also in the Division of Human Sciences at Arturo Prat University in Chile. He's an English professor with a minor in translation and simultaneous interpreting, a Master of Higher Education with a minor in university teaching. He's a faculty member in the Division of Human Sciences and the academic coordinator of the Institutional English program at Arturo Prat University. And he's also coming to us from, he's also in Chile right now, and he's streaming this live on Facebook to the Chilean students who are interested in hearing about their own country, but in English, okay? Yes. And finally, I'd like to introduce you to Professor Hernan Pereira Palomo, an English professor in the Division of Human Sciences at Universidad Arturo Prat in Chile. He is also the Dean of the Division of the Human Sciences faculty. He holds Master of Science in Education and has vast experience in language programs in Chile. He's the president of SONAPLES, which is a national organization in Chile for teachers of foreign languages, and he's contributed to numerous improvement programs and advanced courses in education, English teaching methodology, American history, and literature. He's also contributed to projects at U.S. universities, Austin College, University of California, Holy Family University, Albright College, and Southeastern Missouri State, as well as in the UK at the University of Manchester and Germany, Universität Kaiserslautern. And he's the author and co-author of 8 English teaching books and 5 books on heritage, education, and photography. He's a masterful photographer. I want to talk to you students for a minute, the Albright students here. You need to turn off the pop-off blocker in order to facilitate participation in polls. You're going to be listening to about a half of the presentation, and then we'll put up poll 1. And at the end, we'll put up poll 2. If you have any questions along the way, please put them in the chat box and we'll respond to them at the end of the presentation, okay? So without further ado, I'd like to pass on to Maria Eugenia. Thank you, Maria Eugenia.
Thank you, Dr. Jogan, for that introduction, and welcome everybody from Albright College and here in. We're totally pleased to have the opportunity to share this project with all the students from Albright, with the students from here, and also want to welcome students from Universidad Arturo Prat, faculty members, students from our other programs as well, schools from our city, and our community in general. To contextualize this presentation you are about to see, it is necessary to show you where we are located. Mr. Pereira, can you please enlarge? That's it. Thank you so much. Chile is located in South America. Next, please. That's it. It has a long and narrow geography, which provides the country with a broad variety of landscapes, flora, and fauna. Its boundaries are the Pacific Ocean to the west, Argentina to the east, Peru and Bolivia to the north, Arctic continent to the south. The Atacama Desert is in the northernmost part of Chile, as you can observe on the slide. The next slide, please. Here, this is the Atacama Desert. This is a very vast area and the driest region of the country. The Atacama Desert is 600 kilometers long and 200 kilometers wide from coast to the mountain, Andes Mountain. The word Atacama means black duck and people together in Quechua language. In Consa, which is another language from the Chilean native peoples, the word is I'm cold and I go to town or village. Quechua and Consa are two of the languages which were spoken by Chilean native peoples. Iquique is our city. The next slide, please. This is our city. Most of the places and festivities you're about to witness are 100 kilometers away from our town. These aerial pictures show the wonderful combination of the ocean and desert coexisting in the same place, providing this city with its beauty and magnetism that attract tourists and people from all over the world every year. Now, Mr. Pereira is going to continue with this wonderful tour to the Atacama Desert.
Okay. Good evening, everybody, and a warm welcome from Iquique in northern Chile. Thank you, Maria Eugenia, for taking the first part of the presentation. I'd like to say thank you to Dr. Marcela Quintana, Director of the English Teaching Program at Universidad Arturo Prat, and also Dr. Karen Jogan from Albright College, with whom we have worked with great collaboration for several years. She has been a consultant for our faculty and also co-author of 2 books we published in the past years, and also lectures she has presented in our university, and also some lectures I have presented in her college. And also thanks again to Maria Eugenia and Juan Chamorro, who has contributed with effort, time, and patience and knowledge to make this happen. Well, Iquique is a port, others are words. We always hear this when we were little children. Iquique is a port, others are words, meaning that Iquique is a main port. And it was a main port during the saltpeter boom. Today, Chile, Iquique is a touristic area, is a place where many immigrants want to come, is in the desert, and is in the Atacama Desert at the same time. The word Iquique means a place to rest or dream or bed. And the first inhabitants of Iquique were Changos or Camanchacos, who had the first contact with the Spanish conquerors. And then the city became a main port, a very, very important port in Chile during the saltpeter boom in 1847. It became the axis of commerce. So today, if you visit Iquique, it's mainly the beach. This beach is called Cabancha. You see the tall mountains over there. And here, it never rains or almost never rains, is the desert. And at the same time, people come here because of the beach, because of the free trade area with a huge mall, and also because of the Atacama Desert, the all-nitrate offices, and the High Lines. All of this will be shown in a moment. And of course that in this city, you see a lot of the nitrate boom legacy. All these mansions belong to the saltpeter tycoons. They were made with Oregon pine brought by ships that exported nitrate from Chile, and they brought the wood from Canada, from the United States and Europe as ballast. So the ships came full of this type of wood that was used to build these mansions. And this area is called Baquedano Avenue. It's a protected area because most of these mansions are more than 100 years old. Today, they are hotels, museums, and also pubs and restaurants. Another important thing about Iquique is that it's a city of immigrants. Historically, we received the Bolivians and the Peruvians, then people from Spain and Yugoslavia, and Italy and Spain and China. And later in the mid-70s, businessmen from Pakistan, India, Korea, and all of them have brought a lot of cosmopolitan spirit to the city. All of them have brought opportunities, a new life. And in the past 15 years, we have had another flood of immigrants from Venezuela, from Colombia, from Peru and Bolivia, and from other neighboring countries. What you can see here is a very important day in Iquique's history, it's May 21st. You can see over there, Universidad Arturo Prat is the university for which we work, and it has the name of a national hero. And every May the 21st, there's a big parade. Here, people dance the Chilean national dance, cueca. And after that, all the authorities and some people who are invited head for the port. And in the port, there's a buoy that marks the place where Arturo Prat's ship was sunk by the Peruvian armored ship, El Huáscar. And all the authorities, including our university, throw flowers in the place where the Esmeralda sunk in 1879. This is our university. It has ocean view. If you ever come to Iquique and you come to our university in summer, you have to make great efforts to stay in class and not to go to the beach to play volleyball or sunbathe or practice surf or any other water sport. This university is in the honor of this national hero, and it has about 13,000 students. And we belong to one faculty, the one of Human Sciences, where we have mainly programs for education. Let's say Spanish teaching, infant teaching, English teaching, translation, and also sociology along with mathematics. But we concentrate on teaching future educators that stay mainly in northern Chile. Another important fact is that in our program, we have a very, very active number of teachers and students. We have dedicated several years to publish books with topics of northern Chile. Dr. Karen Jogan participated in the last one, Voices for Global Communication. And after 10 years, we have several books that are given to schools to teach people. As Maria Eugenia explained in the beginning, we are in the desert. This is the kind of landscape you see if you ever go out for a drive. There's a long highway that crosses Chile and gets up to Brazil, which is the Carretera Panamericana. In the north is North 5. In the south is South 5. So whenever we go to the desert, we drive in this kind of road. There's another very important project in our university, which is called Vino del Desierto, or desert wine. Every year in March, there's an activity where everybody goes to an area which is about 40 kilometers from Iquique, and I'm sorry, 60 kilometers from Iquique, and here they see how the vineyard is producing grapes. And this grape is turned into wine. Yeah, we call it vino del desierto, and it is in the initial stage. In the coming years, we'll have massive production, but so far they have gone through the main stages in order to produce high quality wine. And this kind of grape is a special type of vine that has been produced by the university, and it has to do with the area where we live. As it is the desert, it's difficult to cultivate because there are several conditions that do not allow, but in the case of the vineyards and wine, it has been possible. A little bit about history. This has to do with the nitrate boom. All the years in which this was possible in northern Chile, the technology was brought from the United States, from England and Europe, and the people who worked in the nitrate mines made great fortunes. In a moment, there were something like 400 plants in the Tarapacá region, and today they are ruins. You know that this system of saltpeter production collapsed in the 1930s, and all of these plants were abandoned, and the last one worked until the 1970s. Now, the people who took the pictures at that time are two important names in Chilean photography. One was William Oliver, and the other one was Luis Budat. They traveled by train on mules or horseback. They had to carry a big camera with a tripod and a portable laboratory. And most of what they did was to document the life in the nitrate offices. So they are very important sources and rich source of information for historians and archaeologists. In my case, I have also traveled for years in the Atacama Desert, sometimes using the Panamericana or sometimes driving out of the way with guides or with GPS, because up here is a labyrinth. This is about 50 kilometers from Iquique, and I published this book a couple of years ago. And about this book, I'd like to show you a short video that illustrates how are the nitrate mines today. And in one part, you will listen to the voice of Chilean Nobel laureate Pablo Neruda, who wrote a poem called Chant to the Desert. And here he talks about the graveyards, the cemeteries in the desert, and also what people see when they go there, where the temperature is very high, it's very dry, it never rains, and where thousands of people worked for years. Pablo Neruda was also a senator in this area of Chile, and he went to political meetings, to the nitrate offices, but he also wrote his poetry. Give me a second to connect the video and we'll watch it. It's a short one.
Don Hernan?
Mm-hmm.
I think this is time for the poll.
No, not yet.
Okay.
No, not yet. Just give me a second.
I hope we all remember we're in the north of Chile. That might appear on your poll question, right?
The land in the desert with no vegetation or birds or animals is something we should leave or forever. All the drops of sensuality when we contemplate this area of the planet. There is the land in its diamond cut, the sand and extension. There is the pure geography in a landscape that's strange, air-like, and from there you see the hard roads of men and women. Those who ascribe the rescue symbolic or know of the nitrate area in Chile hope that this book will contribute to acknowledge the heritage and importance of giving future generations the cultural wealth of the saltpeter wealth. The first thing I remember about my life at Iris, though vaguely, is sunlight. It was so intense, it covered so much space that I never enjoyed such spectacles, so bright, so colorful, in silence, so infinite, very similar to what we saw in a medieval European fortress. Before the abandoned mine, because everything has been drawn by the wind, is the old mine cemetery. They are all the same. Small amount of crosses, dry, beat by the wind, papers that someday in the past were flowers. Looking at the desert, the immense brown that covers everything is like getting into it in a different way. It's not to get lost in kilometers and kilometers of stone and sand, but it's to get lost in one's own view. And then when I come back to the future, it's something violent, something I cannot really realize that it happened. It's necessary to come with pictures of what was the nitrate period, so it can be present in the citizens and also those who are ancestors and descendants from the old miners. It should be useful material to think of and talk about what was the nitrate or saltpeter boom. publish this book meant to go to the desert, to very, very labyrinth-like roads, to go through long distances, extreme temperature, and to talk to those who know a lot about the desert. I hope this will contribute to education and knowledge of the Atacama Desert and also the area of Tarapacá. Okay, so that was the video about the Atacama Desert, the province of Tarapacá, and some of the nitrate mines that are still to be seen by people. So far we know that we are in the Atacama Desert, which is in the north of Chile. We know that the main mineral was saltpeter, although today copper and lithium are also relevant, but historically it was saltpeter. And briefly, I'd like to continue with the presentation of pictures. Just give me a moment. Just give me a moment to connect this. Okay, there we go. Okay, so in this book, I included 50 saltpeter offices or mines because it's very, very difficult to see them all. There are 150 today, and during the boom, there were 400. So this is one of the important ones. This was declared World Heritage by UNESCO in the year 2005, and most of these nitrate offices were something like small cities. They had a school, they had a farmer's market, they had a church, they had a little hospital, they had the plant, and also the houses that made a social difference. Houses for the administrators, houses for the professionals, houses for the modest workers, and so on and so forth. All of this is about 50 kilometers from Iquique, and today what you can see is this. This was also built with Oregon pine, and it meant status, and it meant that it was a very, very productive and very wealthy and successful nitrate mine. If you go during the sunlight, the evening to the desert, this is what you see. They all have names. This is called Alianza, and they are usually abandoned. Nobody lives there except for Santa Laura and Humberson, which are World Heritage, and they have their own system of protection and guides and all the information for the visitors. So if you go to the Atacama Desert in the future, talk to a tourist agency or get in touch with guides, because this is the kind of road you see. And sometimes the GPS cannot be enough, the map cannot be enough. But it's a great, great place for discovery. It's a great place for photographers, and it's a great place of inspiration too. One of the reasons why UNESCO declared Humberson and Santa Laura World Heritage was because it was here in this area of Chile where the labor movement was born. It was here where there was literary creation. It was here where men and women of all types suffered, but it also provided jobs and progress for the country. If you ever go to these nitrate offices, take a lot of sunblock, a lot of mineral water, and make sure that you have a good vehicle because it takes time. And the architecture of the nitrate mines, or what can be seen today, was of this kind. The English and the American architecture of the 19th century was very influential because the engineers that came from those countries also brought the lifestyle, brought the idea of construction. And of course, that the wealthier the mine was, the better the constructions were. And some are better preserved, others are not so well preserved, but what you can usually see are these wooden crosses of people who died while this was active, and the people who found their last hour and their last minute here. Of course, that you can visit these areas during the day. I suggest that you go, if you ever come to Chile, during the night, because they are really, really breathtaking. It's a whole experience to be there. And during the night, it's cold. It's very, very cold. During the day, it's very hot. I'm sorry, I don't talk about Fahrenheit. I talk about Celsius, but it's about 40 degrees. And one has to make sure that it's protected for the day. But in the night, the temperature decreases quite a lot. You may have 1, 2, or 3 degrees. And most of these places are public. You don't need special permission to get into, but people are advised not to take anything with them because they are a part of our own heritage, and they should be preserved. And this has to do with the way saltpeter was produced, the way the raw material was piled, and the places where all these ruins are today usually have this kind of crosses. Chile is a Catholic country, historically it has been Catholic, so most of these areas have a little graveyard where the nitrate office had a little church or a little chapel. They had a cemetery, and the Catholicism was very, very strong. Now, the construction was usually made with material found in the area, and they also brought wood by train that arrived in Iquique by ship that was a port, and also at Huara. This is the other very, very important old nitrate office is called Santa Laura. It was perhaps the most important nitrate office. And as you can see, again, they had a plant. They had an important house for the administration. And today, as this is World Heritage Site, it is protected. And there are guards, there are tourist guides and maps and everything people need to get to know and have the flavor on how this was when it was active. Yeah, Santa Laura is in front of Humberston, and they are 2 of the most visited all nitrate mines because of such condition, being World Heritage. Finally, in this part of the presentation, this all nitrate office was called Santiago. If you try to read, it says Vote por la Ferte. You know that Pablo Neruda was called Neftalí Reyes, and there was a very important union leader, Elias Laferte. And he used to tour together when they were in their political campaigns. And here you can see Vote por los candidatos, Senador Neftalí Reyes. Neftalí Reyes was the original name of Pablo Neruda. Pablo Neruda was his pseudonym as an artist. And this is very, very rare, but it demonstrates that politics was also very important during the nitrate boom. And the workers usually participated in the rallies and in the political campaigns. And Neruda was here when he was applying for to become a candidate and a senator later. Okay, and well, in visiting these all nitrate offices, one can find little objects in the, especially where people threw all the garbage. These areas are very, very important for the archaeologists and historians. And these were the toys used by little kids. This can be found in a village square today. And this can be found in Humberston. It's a reproduction of how the bedroom was for miners. And this can be found in the sand. Another important thing is that this was the kind of kitchen that people had at that time. They used wood mainly, and they used a lot of metal too. And the metal, again, was imported from Europe, from Latin America. And English, as you can read here, English was one of the languages used by the people of these mines, because the technology came from England and the United States, because many of the contractors and the businessmen came from European countries. So English was quite used. And these are the so-called fichas salitreras in Spanish, the tokens. And every mine had these kind of tokens, and until the year 1929. Before that, they used tokens. But after that, a law was published in Chile, and the law did not allow the mine owners to pay salaries with tokens, because it meant sometimes social injustice, it meant inflation, it meant controlling the prices of groceries and products. And so a law was passed in the Chilean Congress, and they were prohibited. Today, they are in museums, they are sold, sometimes illegally, but this shows how this type of industry was controlled by the owners. And finally, in this section, the graveyards or the cemeteries in the nitrate mines today, there are groups of people in northern Chile that are called clubs de pampinos or asociaciones de pampinos, and the mothers, grandmothers or great-great-grandparents of these people worked in this mine. So every November, they visit the desert, they visit the cemeteries, and they take flowers. They are usually tin flowers because they resist the weather and humidity. Time for a poll.
Yes, I think
Yeah,
there is time for a poll. Okay, let's do the poll. Poll number one.
A poll for our students to take a poll. Okay.
Okay.
Activate the microphone, please.
My microphone is active. Is it active? I think it's active. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but I think they can see the poll. I think they.
All right, I'll launch the poll now. Okay, yeah. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. There it is. Poll in progress. There are 3 questions. How long do they have?
Oh, just a couple minutes. They should know this.
Okay. Okay. Okay, we have the first answers. In the first question, most people are right. In the second question, it is somehow divided. Same as in the third question. Interesting. About 20 people have already answered.
Okay.
About 30.
Tell them the correct answers at the end, just to remind them.
Yes.
I have 61 attendees altogether. How many results do you have?
I've got 43 people have answered already.
Quickly, take a guess. Okay.
About 50.
About 50? Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, there are 47 out of 61. I can see it there.
Okay.
It was on top.
All right. Okay. Well, we can move on and maybe tell them the correct answers.
Okay.
Quickly.
Shall I end the poll then?
And the poll. We've had
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. 1, 2, 3. Ending the poll.
Okay. Oh, good. Time for the poll. So the first question, where is the Atacama Desert? Where is it? Maria Eugenia will tell us.
There were three options.
There were
Southern Chile, Northern Chile, and Central Chile.
Okay. The Atacama Desert is in which part of Chile? Maria Eugenia? You can't hear you. We cannot hear you. Okay.
In the north.
In the north. Everything we're seeing is in the north of Chile. What material was extracted from the salitreras? What was that, Maria Eugenia?
There are 3 options.
Saltpeter. Okay.
Saltpeter.
But there is a lot of copper in Chile.
Yeah.
Number one, there's copper in the world, but not in this particular area. And what's the most important saltpeter mine in Chile? Which is it, Maria Eugenia?
Santa Laura.
Santa Laura. Those are beautiful photographs. Okay, we can go back to our presentation. Good job.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, can you read time? Now it's time for a poll. Can you read that?
We did that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This small town is called Pisagua. Yeah, Pisagua is about 170 kilometers from Iquique, and it was a very, very important port during the 19th century, and it's today is an abandoned small town. There are 260 inhabitants, but it was a very, very important port. Then in 1900, it had big cranes, a huge port. It had big stores, a theater, hotels, urban streetcars, telephone, electricity, telegraph. I mean, it was quite advanced for its time. And it even had a theater. And in the theater, a very, very famous company from abroad and from central Chile came to perform. So the more successful was the city, the more it had during the nitrate boom. And this small place is very, very hard to reach. One has to drive many hours, and there's a very, very narrow road to get there. And well, Pisagua also has a very, very sad history, especially in recent history. You may know that in Chile, there was a coup d'etat in 1973, and General Augusto Pinochet was in office for 17 years. And after the coup d'etat in 1973, many political leaders and union leaders were arrested and taken to this place. Some of them were executed, and in the early 1970s, some people found that here they had buried many bodies, and they called these people that disappeared because they had no information about them. So today, every year, political organizations and parties and human rights groups come to Pisagua to remember their relatives who were executed in this place. And well, back to the map to know where we have been so far. Yeah, we were in Pisagua. We showed this area with the nitrate mines, and if you go to this area, you go to Bolivia, you go to the highlands. Yeah, the high plains is here. The highest part has something like 5,000 meters above sea level, which is very, very high. And there's a very, very good road to get to the high plains. Then if you go out of the main road, then you find other kinds of paths. And there you need a guide and a GPS and a map, because the road is safe, but here you need to know where to go and what to do. Here we have Aymara communities, and before we get there, we were in Pisagua, and we go to this area which is called La Tirana. La Tirana. It's about 140 kilometers through the Carretera Panamericana, north 5, and then to the left, and here is a small, a very, very small village where there's a religious celebration every year in July. And here we worship Virgen del Carmen, which is the main virgin in Chile. And I'd like to show you a few pictures and then a short video associated to the festivity. This is Virgen del Carmen in a very, very important moment on July the 16th. They take the Virgin out and they move around the village. La Tirana has 800 inhabitants during the year, but in July they may have up to a 250,000, let's say 250,000 people during the festivity. They rent houses, they camp, they come in mobile homes, and this festivity has many, many groups of dancers. Every banner is one group of dancers. It can have 10, 20, 30, up to 100 dancers, and they ask for a miracle. They pray to the Virgin so they can have better health. They can recover from illness, or somebody in the family can recover. But in general, they ask for balance with the cosmos and balance with life. And there are many, many people in northern Chile that come to this festivity. The photographers, you may imagine, the videographers, and this is July the 16th at midday. There's a mass where the people worship Virgin Mary, and they pray. They pray for the facts that I just mentioned. And people practice the whole year in Iquique or other cities, and then they go to La Tirana because they usually dance 1, 2, or 3 hours, and then in the evening 2 or 3 hours, and then in the night 2 or 3 more hours. And it's very, very cold in the night, and people had to dress with the best outfits. And all of these people have dresses that represent the devils or the princesses or the young ladies. So it has a lot of symbolism. And every group of dancers should have a band. And the band, of course, has to do with people who charge money for their service, or they ask a miracle to Virgin Mary. And here is a very, very important moment when the Virgin comes out of the church, and the bishop, the archbishop, and the most important authorities of the Chilean Catholic Church attend. Some years ago, I worked and prepared a photo exhibit with Pamela Daza, a prestigious photographer in northern Chile, and Álvaro Jope, a very, very relevant and important photographer too in urban photography. And we presented this photo exhibit, and I'd like to share a short video so you can have an idea how it is La Tirana during July when 250,000 people are there dancing, eating, asking for a miracle, drinking a lot of mineral water, and so on and so forth. Give me a second to connect the video and we continue. Looks familiar. This photo exhibit was created in the year 2006 with Pamela Daza and Alvaro Hoppe. We agreed to take pictures of the festivity for several days and to go around the village all over the place. That meant to be in the heart of the festivity, inside the church and the village square, the outskirts, the houses. The festivity is images that move. As you may know, photography is frozen image. So one needs to walk around, think of the best pictures, and show one's own personal vision. It has several types of lights, very strong at midday, the light in the evening, and night. There are several challenges for the photographer. There are several types of lights. Where one stands, the depth of field, and it's very, very attractive for photographers. One can find more pictures in websites, the media, books. So the challenge is how to take pictures that are creative, or perhaps better than one usually sees. And perhaps it was a very, very relevant experience. Everybody should experiment this once in his or her life. The devotion, the sacrifice, and the happiness of the different dancing groups is impressive. The color, the lights. One gets hypnotized in seeing this. It's a challenge to be there, to get one picture that illustrates the whole festivity. And besides, it's a challenge because there are thousands of people with faith. To prepare this photo exhibit was an unforgettable experience. And it was good to work with Alvaro and Hernan. And it turned out to be more exciting because each of us have their own personal vision. It was a good exhibit. This work, collecting, was a gift, that a present from Hernan and Pamela. I tried, through these images, to show the happiness.
Revelar el afecto.
To show affection.
Revelar el cariño.
To show life and kindness.
La soledad,
The loneliness
pueblo, el tiempo,
of this village
la Virgen de la Plata.
that worships Virgen del Carmen. And finally, one wants something that a famous photographer, Mr. Larraín, said, to focus one's mind, the camera, and the cosmos in one line. For what? To get images that stay in the mind and eyes of the viewer. Okay, we go now to the last part of the presentation. Okay, now the geoglyphs you can see here are part of the area tool. They were used as road signs during the pre-Columbian era. Today, they are national parks where people can visit and see the geoglyphs. This is called the Atacama Giant, and this was made 1,000 of years ago. Caravans from the high plains headed for the coast, so they use these signs as road signs to get orientation on their way to the coast. And the last part has to do with the high plains. This is about 150 kilometers from Iquique. This whole area is very, very high. This is a ceremonial small village. It's called Isluga. And here in this area, we have the so-called Aymaras. The Aymaras spread in this area in the year 1100. And they celebrate their New Year on June the 21st. Today, they are about 2,500,000. They live in Bolivia, Argentina, Peru, and northern Chile. And for them, everything should be a community work. They believe in association to work, to cultivate, and the llamas are very, very important in their culture. The threads with colorful wool is one way of distinguishing and one way of making them part of a family. The Aymaras are highly productive in this kind of blankets and products. They believe that the Mother Earth or the Pachamama is what provides everything. For them, that is their God, is a generous mother, and is a mother that provides everything they need. Here is a ceremony of the Aymaras on June the 21st, the new year of the Aymaras, and they get together and they have a ritual where they ask the Pachamama for abundance, for good fortune, for good health. The moment the sun rises on June 21st, they kill a lamb and they look at the sun and raise their arms. And this is done every year. And as you can see, the Chilean flag on the right and the Aymara flag on the left. They are associated, they are Chileans, and they are also Aymara. If you ever visit the Chilean high plains in the Atacama Desert, you will find this kind of construction. The Catholic Church has a very, very clear presence in northern Chile because they came as conquerors, they built and they imposed their religion. Today, they are national monuments. Sometimes when there's a big earthquake, they collapse. So the mining companies provide money to restore them in some cases. The Aymara women today live in many cases bicultural lives. That is to say, they speak Aymara and they speak Spanish. They can be in their own communities, and they also may come to Iquique or Alto Hospicio or Huara and have a family and a job there. They become big or bicultural because they know that they get something from the Western culture and they provide something from their own culture. The day of the New Year of the Aymaras is a place of worship, is a place of observing oneself and of hoping that the future will be better. The man in the red poncho with stripes is a very, very famous Aymara poet. His name is Pedro Pablo Umire, and he wrote this poem, a short one. I'm going to read you. It says, under this Andes sky and in the lowliness of midnight, I will feel your kindness, although I cannot understand or decipher the language that you bring in your spirit. That is a poem by Mr. Pedro Pablo Umire, a very, very respected poet and artist in the Aymara communities. When they celebrate the New Year, it's something like this. These bands are formed of and by people who are musicians and respected leaders in their communities. And the houses that the Aymaras have are usually made of rocks. They are made of adobe and wood and straw. And they have some very, very interesting characteristics. They are fresh when it's hot, and they are warm when it needs to be hot or cold. Well, these people cultivate the land mainly. They have their own llamas, and they sell the produce to the farmers markets in the area. They usually plant quinoa, and when they cook, they eat potatoes, the yuca, wheat, beans, and garlic. And the high plains is very, very fertile for agriculture. So this is what you can usually see up there. And well, near the end, this is what you also see in the high plains, big lakes with the flamingos. The flamingos are a part of the landscape, and they are a symbol of distinction for the Aymaras. And of course, that is a very, very attractive area for tourists, a very attractive area for visitors from all over the world. And here, the temperature are extreme. Is about 20 to 28 degrees during the day, and in the night it can be 5 to 10 degrees below zero. Yeah, we are talking about Celsius degrees. Well, time for a poll. Yeah, before we go to the poll and to finish, because this is the last slide, I highly suggest you to take a look at these websites. Para Acá en el Mundo, a project created by Dr. Bernardo Guerrero at Universidad Arturo Prat. You will find anything you need about this area of the country. Let's say recipes, maps, songs, legends. Senatur is the National Board of Tourism in Chile. You will find a lot of information in case you want to come to Atacama and Tarapacá in the future. And the last one, PH Photos, which is a website I share with my wife, Pamela. And there you will find photographs, photo exhibits, and books, some books to be downloaded. So before we finish, the last poll.
Okay, so here we go. And I'm sharing the poll on the Facebook group also for the people to be able to answer.
Yeah, some attendees from here were very interested in answering the poll.
What are they answering it?
Yes, we have already 25 answers out of 65. In the first one, what kind of festival is held in La Tirana? The answers are divided between B and C. Interesting.
Right. Well, we'll tell them the correct answer in a second. After we finish the poll, I'm looking to see if you have any questions posted in chat. We'll just go over the poll and then we'll thank our presenters, right?
Okay.
See if we can finish the poll.
S- 51 people out of 65 have already answered the poll.
Good.
55. I can show the results in a minute. I mean,
Okay.
when we are ready. 58 people out of 65, which represents 90% now,
Okay.
92%.
30 more seconds.
All right.
Take it easy.
61 out of 65.
I bet you all the Chilean students knew the answers, right?
Most of them should know the answers.
I hope so. Okay, we close the poll.
All right,
Got most
let's
of
close
it?
the poll
Okay.
and polling, and we can share the results for you to see.
Okay, what kind of festival is held in La Tirana, Maria Eugenia?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, which one?
A religious celebration.
Good. And what ritual do people carry out to thank the earth in the north of Chile?
Ritual of Pachamama.
Pachamama. Okay. And what's the name of the Virgin who is worshipped in La Tirana? That would be who, Maria Eugenia?
Virgen del Carmen.
Virgen del Carmen. I think you got them all right, Maria Eugenia. But of course, you're from there.
Yes, I did it.
Okay, not seeing any questions over here. Okay, I would just like to thank our presenters, Maria Eugenia, who was our hostess, Juan, who was monitoring the Facebook page so that all the Chilean students, there are many students in Chile who are also watching this, and Hernan, who I think turned his screen off, and he was the exceptional photographer, also a dean of a division of arts and sciences at the University of Arturo Prat in Iquique in the north of Chile. Let's see if Hernan's coming back. So thank you very much, Hernan, for the wonderful presentation, and your talent as a photographer just never ceases to astound me. So we really appreciated it. Okay, any other comments from our guests? Okay, well then we can say to our students, we'll say good night to the students in Pennsylvania, and also it's later in Chile right now. Good night to the students.
Good night, right. And Karen, just to remind your students and our students that we'll be together again November the 25th.
Oh, well, that's for your students, but I'll tell my students if they want to come and hear me talk, they can hear me talk. We do it, we do these exchanges. They're helping me, and I will help them. That's the way it works in Latin America. Okay, so yeah.
Karen, I'd like to thank you for your collaboration to prepare this activity today. And also I would like to congratulate your students in Pennsylvania for participating, and take my word, if you ever plan to come to Latin America and to this area of the country, write or send us an email through Karen. We'll be glad to give you a hand in anything you need. And thank you, Juan and Maria Eugenia, because I think that this is the kind of outreach and activities that help people and institutions grow and consolidate. Am I talking like a dean? Okay.
Yes, you are.
Definitely.
Okay. Okay. Well, good night to everyone. And thank you, Hernan and Juan. Maria. Okay. So
We should have a similar event sometime in the future. Sometime in the
We
future.
look forward to your lecture, Karen.
okay.
Yeah.
Juan, you're in charge here. You can sign off now.
All right. Okay.
Goodbye, everybody.
Ciao.
Thank you, everybody.